Cool. All right. So yeah, I was just thinking that we need to make a theme song, or I guess I do. And I like don't. There's not like a movie to go off for this, or like anything where like a song has been made. So I didn't know what kind of like genre or theme it should be, like for an intro song. Does anyone have any ideas?
I have no idea. No, I mean Alexa's mentioned. Well, ask Alexa. She's read all of these. She might have a good idea. What this is like. We could do like a spoof on something existing. Like if it is Game of Thrones adjacent, we could. But you already have a Game of Thrones. There's an actual new Game of Thrones show, so.
I do actually, yeah. Which I'll get to, I guess, at the end of this. But
I had a brief 5-second theme song. A chord of bros and also broses.
Oh shit, that's pretty good. You get a little community thing there.
Yep.
That I kind of want to have a little bit of like music though at the beginning and end. Well, I'll figure something out. Just mess around with some stuff. Anyway, if you look around you, we're already in the podcast.
Oh crap!
Whoa.
Wait,
It looks
are we
just
allowed to
like my
use
apartment.
heavy swears like crap?
Yeah. Heavy swears like crap are just fine. Yeah, that you can say whatever you want. Well, you can't say whatever you want.
Finally,
You
I
can
Nirav has
have
given
a
us full
platform to
permission to
spew
say.
my hatred.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so everyone listening, welcome to the inaugural episode of A Court of Bros and Broses. This is a podcast where three straight men read through slowly and break down chapter by chapter our adventure, first reading to Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I think probably it goes without saying that we have all had little personal experience with this franchise, but if you're not familiar with it, which I'm sure you are if you've clicked on this, there's just no way statistically. But it is a very popular romance fantasy series, kind of geared towards young adults, that has kind of taken over in the last like 5-6 years. I think it was maybe a little bit bigger like 2-3 years ago, but definitely like I think during the pandemic it very much exploded, and people got very into it, and kind of has traditionally been something that is mainly catering to a female audience, and like just one of those things that has existed outside of my sphere of recognition for many years. So I thought we could adventure into this, and I thought of the name I think when I was drunk at a bar with Joe, who was here with me, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. So yeah, my name is Nirav. If you don't know me, then that's your loss, because I have a lot of good content out there. Alright, and I'm joined today by who are going to be my co-hosts on this adventure, Joe.
Hello, my name is Joe, and if you don't know me, it's probably for a good reason.
Right. Hey, don't look for him.
You can't find me.
Yeah, look for him if you want. You won't find him. And Patrick.
Hello. I have no content you can look at online.
Great. So I've made enough content for all three of us. I guess is the
Perfect.
idea. But we'll do some plugs at the end. But let's go ahead and get into this. So I wanted to start this off just as a quick opener by us going around and talking about like what some of our favorite book series are just over the course of our lives, and like what kind of stuff you had expected going into this, just kind of quickly. So Patrick, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I didn't know I had to list favorite books. I have to pretend like I read. I grew up reading a lot of a fantasy wizard novel. That was my favorite series growing up.
Right.
I won't talk
Where
about.
like he slowly went crazy and became transphobic because of the black mold growing on the wall of his dorm room. Right?
Yeah, wild twist in that series. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, but that was my favorite book series growing up. Aside from that, I love the world of Middle Earth in general. My introduction to those was actually the movies, but then I went back and read the books.
Yeah.
Absolutely love all those. So now I'm just a big Middle Earth fan, and then other pop culture, Star Wars and things like that. But as far as the fantasy genre specifically, I would say the Unspeakable Wizard books and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, He Who Must Not Be Named. Okay, Joe, what about you?
Thank you for letting me go second, so I had time to Google what is book. So I grew up reading just a lot, and then now reading very little, but getting back into it with some Neil Gaiman, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
my
I was about to say
timing
bad
for
timing
that.
on that
Gosh,
one.
wow.
Yeah, I picked a great year to
No.
start reading some Neil. But in the vein of things I was interested in when I was younger that kind of tie in, I guess, similarly to maybe the young adult theme here, was some Artemis Fowl, which I feel like I'm getting some
Oh.
vibes. Are very
Yeah.
similar writing styles
I
here.
don't remember him fucking the fairies in that one.
Oh, you gotta read the.
I gotta
the
read farther. I
extended
only read
version.
the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, the 8th book gets wild, man.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah. And then my just extended canon that I have in my head is gnarly.
Nice. Yeah, I have a password
Artemis
protected
gets
folder for
real
that
foul.
I can send you later.
Ah,
So I would say my favorite, obviously, I was one of those people that Unspeakable Wizard book was my literal identity. Probably, I would say all through middle and high school and like most of college. Like, frankly, even in college, people introduced me as, oh, Nirav, he's the Harry Potter guy. And you know, I won't get into all that.
you said it. Oh god.
I said it. You're right. But yeah. Anyway, I loved fantasy. I've read a lot of it. Some of my favorite young adult series were like the Bartimaeus trilogy is maybe still my favorite book series. I doubt anyone's heard of that. If you're open for some YA reading, like go check it out. It's extremely good. And then I'm a huge fan of Percy Jackson. I've read all of those books. I started when I was, middle school, hit me at the right time. I grew up reading a lot of the the Maze Runner books and like the Hunger Games and the Divergence
Hunger
and all
Games.
those, so yeah, like I've definitely spent a lot of time in the YA and I have not. Now, I will say I've done a lot of fantasy reading in my day, and I have done, I would say, 0 like romance books.
Yeah.
Close to or approaching 0.
I did think of other fantasy books that I'm into now. I'm not sure if they're YA though, but any of the Brandon Sanderson Cosmere stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Brando Sando.
Mistborn trilogy.
Fucking, I love Mistborn. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, like I've definitely got some experience in this stuff, but like all of it's like I don't know. I was actually thinking this, and I'm just to preface this and I don't even know where this book's gonna go, but like I was trying to think back the other day and it was like I don't think I've ever read a book that had like an actual sex scene like detailed out in it.
Oh, I just remember that I read all A Song of Ice and Fire, at least what.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, I guess we'll count those then. Sure.
I was gonna say, I was like, neither have I. Wait, nope, I definitely have.
Fair enough.
Song of Ice and Fire is fairly graphic, although I don't know how it compares to this.
It's also not. Yeah. I would also say it's less graphic than the TV show, honestly, but for Game of Thrones at least. Anyway. Yeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into this. So what we've done is we've read the first. Oh, I'm going to give a shout out to our manager, Alexa.
I don't know, manager. The one who's doing the back end kind of telling us.
Yeah, a research assistant. Alexa.
Sure.
Unpaid intern.
Unpaid
Sorry,
intern.
I said that wrong. Not my wife.
Yeah,
my wife.
Yeah. Dude, the jokes never... probably one of the hardest times I've laughed, I was at my friend's wedding like 2 or 3 years ago, and we were doing like the rehearsal like ceremony like right before people started showing up and stuff, and the guy was like, oh, do you take this woman to be your wife? And he was just like, my wife.
Wait, during the rehearsal or the actual
during
ceremony?
the rehearsal before? Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah, no, it would have been so good if he had done it for real. Chicken out.
Nothing says 3 heterosexual men like laughing at a
Borat.
My Wife Borat joke.
Borat, dude. Borat lands. Okay. I just had an idea for Borderlands, but Borat. I don't know what that would
Can't be worse than the movie.
Yeah. What would even be the classes? And my wife, I guess, would be one.
I mean,
Yeah, the siren, my wife.
Yes. I was saying you could do the various other Sacha Baron Cohen's characters. Like
like that racist dictator movie. I don't remember what else he did. He's done a lot of those, though. Anyway, we're getting off track again. So, Alexa, thank you for your help. She's kind of like working behind the scenes, like, you know, when like there's like podcasts that have like research components, and they're like, oh, thank you to this person who's like our research assistant working on this full time, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so we realized it would spoil the fun if one of the three of us read ahead to create a plan, because the point of it is that, you know, we're all at the same point right now. Like, none of us have any foresight into it. I'm assuming, at least none of us have read ahead, so we can't accidentally spoil each other on what's about to happen. But
Yeah,
my
exactly.
wife has already read the entire series once and was gleeful, excited about the thought of reading it again.
Good use
She's
of the
already
word
powered
gleeful.
through the first book. She's like halfway through the second book already. Diligently making notes. Very excited about this entire concept. Excited not just about the podcast, but excited that her husband is reading this book, this saucy book series she's been talking about.
So important to her, just emotionally. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I didn't take any notes because I figured I would just like raw dog this. We'll just like see what happens. I think Joe has some notes. Patrick, do you have anything?
I have my scribbles.
No, I mean, I actually brought out the Spark Notes to like.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Go over.
Why are there Spark Notes for this? Is this being assigned in schools?
Oh yeah, dude, this is a pretty major thing of 11th grade now.
That can't be
this
real.
This is the horny schools that conservatives warned us about.
This has to be like Canadian schools, like something so liberal we can't even do it here.
You didn't take AP English where they talk about the Court of Thorns and Roses?
Holy shit, there are Spark Notes.
Okay, you know, I'll pull those up too. Yeah, my AP English was a lot of like boring stuff, I guess.
Okay, can we just address the elephant in the room before we get into all of this? That Farah, her name is spelled Fairy, and it's really annoying.
Wait, is it? I've been listening to the audiobook.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook, and then I looked it up.
I also did
it's
audio.
F-E-Y-R-E.
That can't be right.
It's real.
That must be a mistake.
F-E-Y-R... Fairy.
That's like fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi naming himself Ben Kenobi to hide.
I mean, no one caught him, so...
That's true. Nobody caught him for 30 years. That's crazy. Okay. Well, Farah... It's literally just that, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
so, okay.
Fairy.
I thought it was like Farah. I was thinking of like Overwatch Farah.
Yeah. That's how it's pronounced.
Farah. Yeah. Okay, so
Not how it's spelled.
Farah, who is one letter away from fairy. Let's get into this. So, I'm just gonna use my really good like memory to kind of detail what happened. You know what? Close this tab. I don't need this. All right. So, I'm not asking for directions. I am gonna remember. So we actually open on a hunting scene, and I will say, I'm gonna say up front, I think chapter 1 was my favorite chapter so far, which is maybe a weird thing to say, but I liked how I kind of liked how gritty it was, and it's just like fucking, she's just like prowling around the forest, like talking about how shitty everything is, and then there's a deer, and then this big ass wolf shows up, and she's like, oh boy, this is probably a fairy, and I'm like, what? So, I feel like traditionally fairies have been sort of... The fairies that I've encountered in literature and movies have been fairly, like, anthropomorphic. You know, they're like...
Like Tinkerbell.
Like Tinkerbell. Or even...
Yeah.
Or even in, like, the world of D&D, they're like, you know, people looking, and then they have, like, a weird blue tail or something. Like...
Yeah. You're describing Na'vi right now is what you're describing.
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about James Cameron's Avatar again, as I do every day. And sorry, shout out to on our Good Games Inc. The last one we did, we had a submittal. I think it was from DC, which was for Akatar: The Last Airbender. So shout out to that again. Which was I'll explain later. But anyway, I thought I keep thinking about that. So yeah, we get into the woods, we're hunting, we see a big old wolf, and I actually was kind of interested in this because I was like, all right, here, what's the strategy? Do we shoot the wolf? Do we shoot the deer first and then try to like run away from the wolf, etc.? And yeah, I was kind of in this. So what were you guys feeling for this first chapter that basically details the hunting scene and then her kind of carrying this carcass back with her?
See, I have a problem where I generally always have a problem at the beginning of books because I have this. I think it's just my lack of being able to pay attention to stuff. I'm reading. I'm like, who's this girl? What's happening? Why am I supposed to care about her? I'm just like, I feel very disconnected at the beginning, where I don't really remember what I'm reading as I'm reading it until like 2 chapters later. I'm like, oh, that was the wolf. Okay, that was the wolf that she did in the beginning. I see that. Okay, that happened. So that happened with like Song of Ice and Fire too, where like I didn't remember what I was reading until chapters later. I was like, oh, those were the dead people. I see. Okay. So during it, I was it was a woman hunting, and I was kind of like, okay. And then the vibe I originally got is that she was unsure if it was actually a fairy or not.
Yeah.
I thought she was like, nah, it's just a really big ass wolf. I'm gonna kill this dude.
It's like, how cool. If they look identical, like how would you even be able to tell? Which I guess
it feels like size is a factor.
Yeah.
But it seemed like she was talking about how that there sometimes are just real big wolves.
Oh, that wolf definitely lets it hang.
Okay. Yeah, I'm worried that that's where the book is going, but we'll get to that.
The first thing I wrote down was she's gonna fuck a fairy.
Right.
Literally my first note.
Now,
but like,
I know that.
I will say I was surprised. Chapter 1, I thought it was gonna get sexier with the wolf description, but it stayed very normal, and I appreciated that. I was expecting fanfic, to be honest.
She's trying to fool you into thinking the wolf is not going to fuck this girl later.
I think we were kind of at I don't know if a disadvantage or an advantage, but going into this book series, hearing from everyone that this is a quote unquote extremely saucy, spicy, sexy thing, like book series where it's all nothing but fairies fucking. That's like the cliche.
That has been my understanding of it before I started, and I was like, what is with all this like subterfuge and like politics and like here's the fairy borders and there was a treaty signed 200 years ago. I was like,
yeah, because so far this seems like a pretty normal fantasy book. Like there's nothing sexy to it so far.
Well, she is having sex with somebody like already.
That's true, but I will say like, not sexy though.
No, it was. They mentioned teeth. I remember that in chapter 4. It specifically mentioned that there was teeth involved with their lovemaking, which is not what's supposed to happen.
Oh, I mean, everyone's got their own thing. I think it was described in a very. You know what? I remember reading this like somewhere. It's like there's nothing less sexy in a book than sex, and I was like, yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
You gotta work that. But yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So she's hunting this wolf, or rather she's hunting the deer. The wolf springs on the deer, tears it up, and then she shoots the wolf with a special ashwood arrow. And I thought that was interesting. I will say one thing I was like, oh, that's new, is like, oh, this wood is poisonous to fairies. I was like, I've never really heard of like a specific tree bark being poisonous to some magic creature. So I was like, all right, that's new.
I appreciated I appreciated like that fairies and everything are a known quantity to humans and everything that's established very early. That there's like, oh, they have these weaknesses or apparently have these weaknesses. We're not sure, but hey, I'll shoot it with this ashwood arrow just in case, because like, if it works, great. If not, it's still an arrow. So why not?
Yeah. 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 So like, and it's like iron tipped, and I think there's some resistance to iron that fairies have, which I think is also present in like Dungeons and Dragons and like other fantasy stuff where they're like allergic to iron. But like again, I think it's like an allergy, like, oh, I've developed a rash. Like not
it's
so
a pretty
much.
Fatal allergy in the case of this wolf.
It's like
well,
a
I think
allergy.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that it was the arrow that sort of the fact that it was an arrow did a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting.
It's like if you went to someone with a peanut allergy and shot him with a peanut bullet. The bullet did a lot of the heavy lifting, but I'm sure the peanut didn't.
It didn't help that it was a peanut. Yeah.
I guess I'm imagining this like absolute monstrosity of a wolf getting shot by one arrow and just being absolutely killed.
Well, I think it's the ashwood,
like,
right? It's like poison for them.
Right.
So
yeah.
Just like...
So like it is a combination, I feel like.
Yeah. And also, wait, who was that guy that made all those peanut things?
Mr. Peanut?
No.
What? Yeah, Mr.
Absolutely not. No, the guy who's like, he made 100 uses for peanuts.
Washington Carver? What the fuck?
Yeah. I was just wondering if one of those things was a peanut gun.
That's for a different podcast.
I don't know.
Peanuts, 100 ways they could kill you.
Okay, so we shoot the deer, or rather we shoot the wolf, and empty the fucking clip, just like fucking gangland style execution of this wolf, and it dies, and she's like, I better take its skin. Let me say something actually quickly. So from my how old is Feyre? My understanding was like maybe she was like in her early 20s or something.
I guess that probably makes sense because her sisters are younger or older.
They're older. She's the youngest.
Oh, they're older. Then I was imagining like 19 or something like that.
That might be true. I'm just not really sure. Maybe I can Google that. What is Feyre? But yeah, I was really kind of surprised that she's 19 at the start of the series. Okay, correct. So I was surprised that, not really just because of that, but because she's, starving and living in poverty, that she was able to, like, carry an entire deer and a wolfskin pelt, like, through the forest, like, back to her home. That's, like, heavy shit.
Yeah, that was shocking. A full deer and a probably pretty hefty wolfskin pelt, considering the size of the
even
wolf.
the skin of the wolf would probably be, like, considerably heavy on its own. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, oh, maybe she's, like, super buff. And then it's like, we've been wasting away 15 years. And I was like, maybe not.
And then she gets home, and her sisters are absolute...
Oh, we're going to get to that. Hold on.
Oh, my God. Don't get me started. That's all I can think about.
Fucking bring back the Cinderella's evil stepsisters, dude.
But make them worse. Okay, are we just going to get to it? Are we just going to
let's talk about them.
I hope Nesta has just a stubbed toe every morning, and hope she restubs that same toe every night before she goes to bed.
Yeah, you tell her.
Yeah.
Get her. I can't imagine her walking in with a giant deer on her back, holding a huge wolfskin pelt, and then being like, ugh, why are you covered in blood? You're disgusting. Like, please, how can they possibly be so ungrateful? It's almost comedic.
Okay, that's what I was going to say, though. It's like, they feel like cartoon characters that are, like, not real. They're not, like, real people. And it's just, like, again, they really do feel like Cinderella's, like, evil stepsisters. Like, she's, like, fucking cleaning the gutters in the fireplace, and they're like, oh, you've gotten your shoes dirty. Disgusting. Like, I don't know. I was, like, maybe, like, 4 seconds into this chapter, I was like, leave them here. Please, leave them here. I actually, and I'll go ahead and say this, like, at some point, like, the fact that she, like, has stayed there for fucking 8 years and taken care of these shitty, ungrateful people is, like, that's her own fault. Like,
I mean, I guess we don't know the state of the world. I have no idea what it's like, and, like, it sounds like they're pretty destitute and they're not doing great.
They're not gonna but
screw over her dad too.
Yes, yeah, they'd all die, but she obviously has the ability to take care of herself if she's not feeding 3 other idiots. Like,
well, I do think that I kind of jumping to chapter 4 a bit, but I think promises are probably going to be in your word are a big part of this book, because even her mother that she didn't like made her promise to take care of her family. So I feel like that is obviously the reason she's there, but I think it's going to be a big part of a theme that runs throughout the rest of the book is maintaining your word and, treaties and bonds and promises and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be. I was just like, I would, even if I had made this promise, I think based on the fact that, like, her mom sounds like she was awful. Like,
everybody's so unlikable.
Everybody. Yes. I just, like, how does a person get caught in a web of so many unlikable people that are all just, like, useless? And I don't know. But we're skipping ahead here. We meet our sisters here. Was the older one is Nesta, which is
Nesta's the oldest. Yep.
Yeah, because she's called that because she's nasty. And then Elaine is the middle one, and I guess she's played by Julia.
She's called Elaine because she's kind of like the character from Seinfeld.
Yeah, did you hear what I just said that?
Did you say that? Oh no, I did not.
I said she was being played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. Well, we both had
I
a
thought
Seinfeld joke lined up, so.
Boom, bum, ba-dum, boom.
I thought you were gonna say Zoe Deschanel because she's that same level of like, just kind of so stupid it's kind of dangerous, but like she's very nice in the process.
She's got real big eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that would be correct. I feel I also just don't like her. Like, I don't know. At some point, being stupid isn't an excuse for not helping. Like, but anyway, yeah. So her dad is crippled. So he is. I think he pretty much can't walk at all, from what I understand. Like, he's just got one completely fucked up leg.
Yep. Because the mob came in and beat him for not paying his debts.
They beat his ass, and
brutally, actually. It was a surprisingly vicious scene they described.
One thing I don't know if we missed yet, or if they said, or maybe I missed it, is how did they lose their fortune?
I don't remember them saying specifically, unless I missed it.
I don't recall it being described. I think it was just we lost our fortune, we couldn't pay back our debts or something, and then the mob took everything we owned, or the mob equivalent.
Right. There's some sort of fairy mafia. But like, yeah, I was just curious why they lost all their money and stuff. Like, if it was something that they did or something that happened to them, I guess is the real question.
Probably because they're all fucking useless.
I mean, I know that her dad seems to like care about her, but like he's also useless. I'm sorry. Like, there's just like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, just like it's just one of these situations where I'm almost having trouble believing what's happening, because like I just can't fathom being surrounded by so many unfathomably stupid people without just losing my shit entirely. Like,
yeah, I don't know how she hasn't snapped at her sisters.
Yeah,
more
exactly.
Than just she'll verbally kind of berate them, but it doesn't sound like it's much more beyond that.
No, she should beat their asses, and I think I'm going to be saying that a lot throughout the course of this.
And we know she can, considering she provides for the family by hunting. Like, we know she's probably can.
She was carrying like 100 pounds of skin on her back,
yeah.
dude.
She could easily. I don't know. It's crazy.
I bet she's jacked. We just don't know. But anyway, yeah. So Fair has a back and forth with them. We find out why we hate them, and then she's like, all right, I guess I will do all the things in the house again, and then you guys can sit and talk about how shitty you are. Which seems to kind of be their MO. Is like her oldest sister being like, wow, aren't I shitty? And the middle one's like, yeah, you are.
I don't think, honestly, that Elaine has a single thought. I think she just kind of sits there staring at walls while Nesta just talks.
Yeah, she loves being talked at. So, yeah, we kind of, I guess, move on to our scene the next day where we're heading to the market in town. And so, Feyre has cut and cleaned this wolf and deer skin and is going to sell them for lots of copper pieces at the market. And I was kind of trying to get a handle on like what the money situation is. Like, it's like, here's like 4 copper pieces. I was like, okay, is that like a loaf of bread or is that like 6 cows?
It feels so arbitrary. I don't even.
It's so hard to know.
It was enough that silver was notable when she receives it later, and gold was even more notable, but like she didn't really freak out. So yeah, it seems weirdly arbitrary.
Well, then it is very true to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to the market and we meet a mercenary woman. Do you remember this woman's name? I've forgotten it.
She was not named.
Unnamed mercenary.
Even on the Spark Notes, I was gonna say, even on the Spark Notes, she's a mercenary.
Great. So we meet unnamed mercenary. I was kind of trying to figure out who was playing this character in my head. I was thinking through all these Olympian athletes I've seen this week. Maybe one of the ones that did like the pole vaulting thing. But
yeah, she's got to be jacked.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
She's like, but she's like she's described as having like scars and stuff too, right? Like she looks like she has had experiences. She's like looks roughed up, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that she has. I mean, she talks about the fact that she's had experiences fighting like fairies and stuff too.
Yep.
Which is something that like it seems not a lot of people do and like live to tell the tale. But yeah, so she's been traveling around. She seems to be just like, you know, mercenary for hire, and I feel like it's one of these things where it's like, okay, so I'm trying to figure out why did we meet this character. So we get a little bit of information about like what the world is like, but the money that she gets from trading the skins to her is like immediately lost because of the events of the next chapter. So
no, I think they keep the money.
She doesn't.
She
Well,
gives
yeah,
it to her
but-
sister, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like, is like she doesn't keep, like Feyre doesn't keep the money when she like goes on her new vision quest.
I kind of assumed it was flavor text. Like it was kind of, they're talking about a little bit of background on the history between humans and fairies, not like an official history, but like here's a mercenary who's lived it. Hear how rough the war between the fairies and the humans are. And then she also talked about how the mercenary like way overpays for the wolf pelt, and Feyre knows she overpays, and the mercenary also knows she's overpaying, which is like, hey, listen, someone did this for me, I want to pay it forward. Here's more money than you actually deserve for this pelt. And I kind of just all took. I mean, that's probably why the mercenary also isn't named. Is just like she's not really important, but the interaction is kind of getting flavor text to the world, I guess.
Yeah,
I also think that the mercenary was lying to her because, as we'll find out, it was a fairy, and the mercenary has killed fairies, 100% knows that, and overpaid her for it. So I think that the mercenary will probably make a return, at least to confront her for, like, hey, the fuck, lady.
Yeah, that was my question.
Oh, you think
I guess
like,
if
physically
we'll see
she'll
this,
return? Maybe.
If we'll see this character again. I was curious, but I don't know. If she's not named in the Spark Notes, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't have a name. Who knows?
I know.
But
I was say prior to this, I forgot, in the market scene, they also run into like a cult of people who worship the fairies.
Oh yeah, we totally forgot that. So that was definitely
the cult approaches her and her sisters, and they're like, "Hey, fairies are the best. Fairies rule, right?" And then her sisters like basically spit on them. They're like, "Ugh, fairies are gross. Get out of here."
Honestly, being that I grew up in South Carolina, like I'm very on board with spitting on street preachers.
Oh my gosh.
Like especially when I was in college, like the amount of times that they would just block the dorm room doors so you couldn't even get in, like it was so fucking annoying. Like there were situations where I'd watch students just beat the shit out of street preachers on our campus. Like
gracious.
They just won't leave. They won't let you go, and they won't let you get into your own fucking house. And they just scream at you. I hate it. Anyway.
My first experience at college was watching a homeless man argue with a street preacher on the corner outside of a bar, and I'm pretty sure I remember the homeless man actually winning the religious debate. In terms of the facts he was spitting and like the biblical canon he was spitting, I'm pretty sure he knew more about it than the street preacher did.
If anyone was at the University of South Carolina from the years of 2011 to 2015, here's a fun shout out for you. There was a guy that everyone called Yahweh Guy, and it's because he parked his car near the student union building every single day. He was there every day that I was there for like 4 years, and he had a giant like Israeli flag like flying from his car, and then a big sign that just said Yahweh. And he would sit there in like a lawn chair next to his car, and he just sat in silence. And like it was this, old guy, long gray beard, long gray hair. Didn't like preach at anybody though. He just sat there with his big flag and the sign that said Yahweh. Just like, remember. And I was like, all right, I clocked Yahweh for today. Thank you. Nice. Yeah, so I shout out to that guy for not yelling at people on the street. Anyway, so yeah, what were these people called? The children of something?
Children of the Blessed.
Children of Adam, probably, right?
No. Yeah.
Fallout reference.
It is. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, so the children of the blessed, I guess, think that fairies are like divine beings that were sent to Earth, and they're supposed to be ruled and oppressed by them. Is that kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, it sounds like it. Like the fairies are our overlords kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love the all hail the high fae.
Oh
Right.
yeah, the high fae, yeah.
Yeah, it was specifically the high fae. It was not fairies in general, but like the high fae ruling class.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah, because there's a whole like class system. I mean, it makes sense, I suppose, but
Right.
a class system within the fairies that I assume we'll learn way more about.
I assume so, because like I was also curious, like, what is the difference between a high fae and then just like a regular fairy, and like, are they physically different, or is it just like a social, you know, socioeconomic distinction between them, or what's the dealio? So
I assume the high fae are of a more fuckable humanoid type shape.
oh, that could definitely be it.
Oh, very insightful.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you don't think she's gonna fuck this wolf?
I'm
The
not
wolf is
gonna.
dead, so
No, it's a new wolf.
oh, new
No,
wolf, wolf
Well, this is
two.
like a wolf cat. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to wolf 2 in a second.
Oh, the anthropomorphic wolf cat. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the beast from Beauty and the Beast.
we get a I kind of found it funny.
Yes, actually.
I kind of found it funny that, like, I don't know, funny. It just her sister Nesta was like, I'm gonna marry this idiot guy who I don't remember his name, and she's like, you shouldn't marry him because their financial situation is like not really any better than ours, and also like the dad like beats his wife and stuff, and so you shouldn't like go live there. And I was like, the audacity that you, Feyre, have to care even an ounce about the well-being of this horrible, horrible person is like so far beyond my capacity to care. Like, I would absolutely offload her as quickly as I could to somebody else.
I mean, I guess she probably, it sounds like she knew that for quite some time and was sitting on that knowledge. And then it's only when she was leaving, she's like, listen, bitch. This is what you're getting yourself into. Bye.
It's like, yeah, I was gonna let you this happen, but just because I'm gonna die or maybe die / go live with the fairies, now I'm gonna drop this on you.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have just been like, get fucked. Go get married. Like, it would just be so much easier to just not have one extra person there. But anyway, yeah. So she's like, don't marry this guy, and then we briefly meet Isaac, and then she like off screen has sex with him in a barn.
Well,
Nice.
dude, Isaac shows up, does like the fuckboy like rubbing his chin thing, and like heads off to the barn.
He shows up
and
at the
just
quad
waits
with
to get
his
dick
acoustic
sucked.
guitar.
Like,
And
Isaac just rolls up, says, "Hey, you want to go fuck in the barn?" and just leaves, and that's all we see of him.
I know these people are real, but they are a mystery to me. That has not been how my life has played out.
I mean, at least they know what they want. At least they both are on the same playing field. They both know what this relationship is, and it's just a fuck relationship.
Yeah, no,
So, hey, you know
I'm all
what?
in.
Good for them.
I'm all in support. I'm all in support. It was just funny.
Yeah, aside from the teeth, I'm all in support of
Yeah.
The healthy relationship.
Man, you really hate
weirdly
teeth.
unhealthy.
Yeah,
relationship.
weird. I don't know. Some people got to get their teeth on.
Ugh.
The okay, the next thing we do is we head back home, and then in the dark of the night, we have a visitor. Who's our visitor?
Beast Boy.
Oh, the Beast.
Did you say
from
Beast Boy?
Beauty and
Yeah.
Beast Boy from Teen Titans appears.
Yeah, Beast Boy from Teen Titans. He's a gorilla this time.
He's a big, sexy gorilla.
Just a green gorilla. Yeah, and so a fairy shows up of some kind, we don't know, and he's kind of I guess a werewolf man. Like, I kind of got the impression that
I mean,
he
I
was
think
just...
what Joe said, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. seems
Yes,
like a
that was
pretty apt
absolutely
description
what
of
I
it.
was picturing. I didn't want to be the
Yeah.
first one to say it. Because it seems like he also has invited her into a specific Beauty and the Beast scenario.
Yeah, he's very much like it's heavy Beauty and the Beast vibes from this.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I mean, this,
And I didn't think
this
about it 'cause
arrangement is wild. Like, hey, I'm gonna kill you, or you can come live with me forever. What is this?
Okay, I think this could have made a little more sense if he was like, if he came in there and was like, your life is like forfeit to me, so I can either take it or you can come be a servant, like for my estate or whatever for the rest of your life, as like a payment of like giving your life. And I was like, I was thinking like if he made it more clear, like come over there and like live in like indentured servitude, like that almost might like it might make more sense, you know. But he was very much like come live on my yard was kind of the like.
I mean, I think we're supposed to question it at this point, because I remember reading that being like, why doesn't he just kill her? What? And then she out loud asks, why are you not killing me? And he's like, bitch, why are you being so ungrateful? I'm letting you live. Just come live with me. So I'm assuming we will find out why he doesn't want to kill her, and she's just going to his place.
Yeah. So
we're supposed to question it probably at this point.
One idea I had is that like there might be a political tool reason to need, like if we're getting into that, like, oh, like I have a human I need for something, like I've got one right here. But like
potentially,
yeah, I don't think I've gotten the impression so far that these fairies like shapeshift. Like, is that how they work, or are they always like how they are?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, I think I like Joe's idea of that as you get higher into the high fae sort of hierarchy, they become more humanoid. Mm-hmm. So maybe like this dude's like a middle guy, and like the lower guys would be like the wolf is like the lower of the fae hierarchy, and then the middle is this dude, and then as you get higher,
okay, so it's like basically just like an Animorphs cover.
Yes, exactly, like an Animorph. So if you take an Animorphs cover and you label each stage of that Animorph happening, that is the fae hierarchy. Perfect.
Okay, great. I wish there was a way to upload visual aids into podcasts, but yeah, so I thought this was a little bit. I agree. I'm gonna give Sarah the benefit of the doubt here and say that we're supposed to feel confused by this offer, and it'll be explained in time. So I'll hang on with my reservations about that. But like, I was also a little bit like, I don't know. Her dad got a little bit weird when she was leaving, and I kind of was surprised because he was like, you know, if you do manage to escape, like, don't come back here. And I was like, yeah, bitch, no shit, I will not be coming back here.
The classic, get out of here, you filthy animal.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting, and I'm curious. I almost hope we just never hear about this family again.
Yeah, I like to imagine. I bet if like Disney's Beauty and the Beast happens, Belle leaves, and then Maurice is like, "Hey, Belle, don't come back." Like, imagine that happening. That is the vibe from this. Her dad is like, "Don't come back. For real, this sucks. Don't come back."
I mean, what? It's not like they were like living it up in the town there, and like, you know, she's like hanging out in this fancy estate now. But I was also worried that like this, and I feel like I would know. Maybe I would have heard this if this was the case. Like, is this going to be like a Stockholm Syndrome scenario, like romance?
I don't know. My gut is that he is not the one that she is like a set. I mean, maybe. Who knows? That I feel like that'd be bordering too much on Beauty and the Beast territory.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Like, maybe we'll meet somebody else there. Maybe it'll be one of these high fae or something. Or maybe two of them. I don't know if this is one of those like love triangle things, and then she has to like overthrow the government. Which I think is most book. As far as my sample size goes, most books are about a teenage girl with two boys that like her, and then she has to overthrow the government.
That'll happen.
We should actually. That's a good thing. You know, I like that idea. We should speculate as much as possible where this goes following this. I'm really like maybe like after every episode we kind of guess what happens next.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, what were you gonna say?
Oh well, I just thought when they not speculating here, but when they first said, "Oh, you know, fairies can't lie, but they can admit the truth," I'm just like, well, that's just pointlessly arbitrary. That's just
okay.
Who made that up?
So that is a common thing in like fairy stuff, and oh wait, sorry, I have to give a huge shout out to I completely forgot my biggest foray into this type of thing is the Mortal Instruments books, and I've read all of them.
I don't think I've even heard of that before.
So like City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, those are those ones. Like we've talked about them in the server so much, dude. Like, they're Shadow Hunters. Is that word familiar to you? They made a TV show adaptation of it called Shadow Hunters.
Wow, no, nothing. That's not even in my brain.
Really? Can you call? Is Alexa there?
She's with our son right now.
Okay, no, I need to check on this later. Then, just like, I need some confirmation. I'm sure she knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Mortal Instruments books are huge. Also, like, fantasy, romance sort of oriented books. You know, and there's Clary, and she finds out she's a wizard, and then you know, her mom dies, protecting her from a dark wizard, and you know, it turns out that is her dad, and then it sort of turns into Star Wars from there, but we'll not get into the whole plot right now. Regardless, it does remind me of those books a lot, so a shout out. Actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to pause for a second. That was how I ended up on this idea, was because in the server, me and like 5 other people were having a discussion about the Mortal Instruments, and the original idea for the podcast was like a chapter by chapter breakdown of like the Mortal Instruments books. And I was like, well, that wouldn't be funny because I've already read these. And I was like, well, I didn't read these, and this is like the same thing. So that's how we got here.
And luckily, we're not doing chapter by chapter. If we did chapter by chapter, I didn't think we have enough to talk about.
No,
even
absolutely.
5
not.
chapters, I was pretty apprehensive, but we're doing all right.
This is, and thank you, Alexa, research assistant. That was an exactly right bite-sized chunk of things to talk about.
Yeah, I questioned if we should break it down, do longer chunks, but she's like, no, I have it broken down by story, by little story sections. I was like, okay, I believe you. All right.
Yeah. I know this is important to you, like, as a person. So yeah, I guess we get to the point where she agrees to go with this mysterious wolf man, who I guess we don't know his name still because she asks it and he doesn't give it. So she's going to be led to his estate, which is within the walls of the fairy city of
Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska.
Do we all forget the name of the thing?
I have no. Did they say the name?
Prithian.
Prithia.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That is familiar, yes.
Prithian.
Oh,
Is the name.
Prithian. Are you sure Prithians are the people from Prithia?
It is Prithian.
Okay, Prithian, and I guess people
I am
from
looking
there.
at the Spark notes.
Right.
Are they Prithianites then?
Maybe they're just also Prithians.
Okay.
Also, that would have been weird. Like, Prithia is a pretty common Indian female name, but anyway.
It is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's probably not that. But
I mean, our main character's name is just Fairy, so it's
That's
not like
true.
we're really doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
I'm giving Sarah a lot of credit here. I want to just say I'm on a first name basis with Sarah J. Maas, I guess. So, also, do we know how to say her last name? Is it Maas or Mass?
How do you spell it?
It's Maas. So my first instinct was Maas.
Yeah, like Spanish, like Moss,
Yeah.
or like Moss, like MOS.
Like the video game about the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Going
maybe.
Mass. There has to be a
Mass?
contrarian. There has to be a contrarian.
Okay, I actually remembered there's a thing called the internet, and you can just find information there for free.
Shit. Yeah, I think predictions though. I don't think we're gonna see sex for a while. That's my prediction. I think we're gonna get a slow burn, not a lot of teeth, which is gonna be unfortunate.
Yeah, Alexa
Sarah
did
J. Maas.
kind of
Sarah Janet
warn
Moss.
me that this book in general is the least spicy of the series.
Mm-hmm.
That it ramps up pretty significantly after this book.
Yeah, that is what I've heard as well. And it is Sarah J. Maas.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I've also heard that it gets a lot raunchier after this first one. Like, this is just an introduction to the world and stuff, and then they kind of like really get dick down in the next one.
Yeah, get dicked down. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alexa was
Actually,
saying
shout out quickly to a YouTube channel called Read with Cindy. She I used to watch her years ago when she was actually like, she did a bunch of videos on these, and like I would pop in sometimes, and like every time she would describe these books as she just walks over there and she gets dicked down by some fairies.
Gracious.
So that is what I'm referencing. So go check her out on YouTube. Okay, so yeah, I guess we get to the end of this bit where they head off towards Prithian together. She's riding on a horse. She like gets knocked out essentially, which I think might be like was supposed to be her going through like the border wall to the fairy world. Is that what you guys?
I think you have jumped ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
sorry.
you jumped ahead a
Not
little
happened in
bit. I don't
chapter
remember
4.
that.
Oh, that must have been So I was listening to the audiobook. I think I went like 3 or 4 minutes into chapter 5 and was like, oh wait, I'm probably in chapter 5. I'll stop
Spoilers.
here. So sorry.
Oh, man,
No, we
ruined
have
the
covered
entire
chapter
next
4.
arc.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, so yeah, we ended there.
You were saying that, and I was like, man, I don't remember this.
Well, actually,
I know I kind of
I
spaced
do
out
have
for the first few chapters, but
I do have a prediction. I think we're gonna get like a training montage in the woods as she starts to discover her magic powers and kind of like a shonen arc.
Wow. Okay.
he gets magic powers.
Yeah, I think so. And
Predict-
I'm gonna add to that for my prediction, which is that there's gonna be a tournament arc after that, shonen arc.
Oh,
And then there's going to be sort of everyone in the class A, like 1A has to like show up and do like a demonstration of their fairy powers and stuff.
I like that. My prediction is that she gets to this Fae's castle, right? And then she finds out that all the inanimate objects can speak, and they sing and they dance and they explain to her they're all under this horrible, horrible spell because the Fae master was a dick to some witch in the woods years ago.
Wow, did you think of that yourself?
Yeah, that just all came to my head right now.
That's pretty
I'm feeling
cool.
pretty confident about that.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that
really
idea.
write that story. Really original.
Now, who is the Gaston in this story?
You should call it the Beast and the Beauty.
Is Isaac? Wait, Isaac, is that her lover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can be Gaston.
Okay. Isaac is Gaston.
I feel strongly we're not going to see him again.
I think you're right.
But anyway.
He's still waiting in that barn to get his dick sucked.
Wow. He must be. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and end it there. So I would say fairly good start. I'm interested in the world, and yeah, nothing. A little bit surprised again, like just based on my knowledge of this before. Surprised it wasn't like spicier like right off the bat, but I'm interested in the world. I think she's doing some good steady world building. I would like to see what this estate looks like and how many candlesticks are floating around there singing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all the musical numbers in this.
That would be insane. How many musical numbers could you put in a book?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, ask
Really
The
well.
Hobbit. Any of Tolkien's
That's
books.
true. He does a lot of those.
So many songs.
Very good. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and wrap up here today. We actually got a lot more material out of that than I thought we would, so nice.
Agreed.
So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and close out. So, as I said earlier, I've done a lot of stuff out there. If you want to find any of that, GamebustersPod.com. I've been running a thing called the Gamebusters Podcast for 4 years now or something like that. Currently we're on season 3 and we're watching every video game movie ever made in chronological order, and it is awful.
Still happening? Oh my gosh.
What do you mean, dude? We're not even a little bit into the list. We have 3.
For some reason, I thought you had made a huge chunk in that, but I guess not.
Well, we still have like 3 years of movies left.
Oh gosh.
Well, like 3 years of us watching them. I mean, we're in 2006 right now, so we're still working our way through. So make sure, find us GamebustersPod.com. You'll find all of our shit there. And I also write for a site called GameLuster.com, where I do like video game reviews and features and such. So go check that out. Joe and Patrick, would you guys like to plug anything?
Yeah, I mean, I totally have stuff to plug.
You can plug your baby.
Yeah. So
That's
my
illegal.
baby's pretty
Don't do that.
cool.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, yeah,
baby's pretty
that's
cool.
in all the baby
Awesome.
books. You're not supposed to plug the baby up.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't do that. Baby's cool. Great. I'll mention my wife. Shout out to my wife Alexa again for. We mentioned her several times by name at this point, but shout out to her for.
Here's her
being
address
really
and social
passionate about these
security
books.
number.
Yeah. Here, I'll give her personal email address.
Plug her mother's maiden name.
Her mother's maiden name, her graduation year in high school. What other security question answers do I need to give?
Your first car, I think, was one.
Okay, yeah, first car.
Favorite
maiden
high
model.
school teacher.
Yeah, that's a good one. Joe, do you have anything?
I have nothing to plug, but I do ask that you all go to your local Church of Scientology and just clog the toilets. It's not illegal. You can just keep doing it. They can't really do anything about it. It's not a
Nice.
crime, but it is an inconvenience, and you're doing the Lord's work.
I wouldn't mind if you did that. Okay, great.
It's not the Lord's work. It's some big alien man's work, right?
Xenu's work, correct?
Sorry, it's Xenu's work, yeah. And if we die, we'll get 7 volcanoes? Is that how it works?
Dang, it was 5 last time they tried selling me on it.
Man, I honestly wish I could, like, paste some Scientology people instead of the Christian street preachers I've dealt with, because at least their stuff is like, wait, how many volcanoes?
Dude, but whatever you do, don't give them your email address.
No.
I did that on accident one time. Didn't even know it was a Scientology booth. They got my email address. Freaking 8 years of emails. I tried unsubscribing, reporting for junk.
You gotta move.
Use, like,
you gotta move and change your
it
name.
was horrible.
Okay, so anyway, don't subscribe to Scientology. It's a scam. All right, that's our plug.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to be putting this up on all the shits, so you should be able to find it on whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And yeah, we should be back. I don't know what the schedule for this is yet. Did we have one?
All day, every day.
Whenever we can.
Wow. All right. I will plan that, but I'm going to say tentatively every other week. Maybe we'll have an episode. That would be good. So yeah, we'll attempt to do that, and just keep an eye on your podcast feed. When there's a podcast, it just shows up in there. It's very neat. All right, I guess that's all we've got. We have an outro cool thing to say.
Kiss fairies. No, I don't know. That's not cool.
Okay. Fairy.
Fairy god lovers.
What?
You know, because you make love to fairies. I don't know.
You do. You do that.
Grasping at straws here.
And then we're just gonna say.
Alexa, what is a good sign off?
Always read your smut.
Always read your smut.
Okay. Always read your smut, everyone. Is that a sign off as much as just like instructions?
Can we
the
the last 30 seconds?
No, I actually I edited the last 30 seconds in.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it's in here twice as much as it was before.
Yeah, can we make this the intro of the podcast? This will get people hooked.
Yeah, we could play it in reverse. Okay. Sorry.
Read more smut.
Yeah, read more smut. There we go.
Read more smut, everyone.
Until we think of something better. Goodbye.